Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Kat's Message of the Day. If this is your first time here, welcome to my channel. It's awesome to have you here with me today. If you've been here a few times, welcome back. So before I get into the message, please note that this is a collective group message and it may not resonate with you, and that's simply okay. Come back and visit me tomorrow when tomorrow's message may be more aligned with what you need to know. So let's dive into the channeled message. Self-sabotage morphs into whatever form it needs to get you. Feeling flat, don't want to get out of bed, you're confused, feeling lost, got no energy, and you just don't know why. Just maybe it's self-sabotage. Do you settle for, I don't know why I feel this way, and accept it's okay to have a bad day? What's the cause of why you feel the way you do? A true indication of self-sabotage is when you don't know why. If you're trying to find your why from your head, that's only what you think it is. Your true answer can be found in your gut, which takes feeling your why. Self-sabotage stems from an attached feeling of lack of self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, self-confidence, any other lack of self that you can come up with. That self-sabotage is attached to it in some way, shape, or form. Your mind wants to dismiss and delete the truth. When you think it says you don't know why, however, when you feel the answer, the truth can be found. I created a quote this morning. Feel your truth rather than think your answer. I thought that was pretty clever, and I really like that. And it's about feeling why you feel the way you do. So many of us just accept and we just become a bit complacent and go, oh, I don't know why. And just leave it at that. And all of what I share is about perspective and opening your awareness to look deeper within you, to not settle for don't know. I get that answer a lot, don't know. And I said, you do know. The answer is within you if you take the time to find it. And that's simply what I'm saying with you. Don't settle and be okay with I don't know. Take the time. If you're struggling to get out of bed, sit with yourself and go, why am I now struggling to get out of bed? Why do I now feel lost? You may find that these dips, I'll call them dips, is after you've had some great achievement, or you feel really good about yourself and you're going, yeah, you know what, I'm getting out of my comfort zone, I'm doing my rituals, I'm really doing great. Then boom, all of a sudden, you don't want to get out of bed. You feel lost. All these feelings. And if you're settling for those feelings and going, it's okay to have a whole bad day, you're allowing that self-sabotage in. Because one day becomes two, becomes three. It may not. Great. If it doesn't, well done. Catch it. And I'm not saying that I don't have those moments either. But I have such self-awareness that I go, there you are. You're coming back. Because I've committed to doing these videos every day. And I can't be bothered one day. Or, I can't find the channeled message. I can't find it. Well, I'm not supposed to find it. I'm supposed to channel it. It's supposed to come organically, if you know what I mean. And so, believe me, I too have those little self-sabotaging moments because I'm proud of myself that I've committed to doing this. I think it's close to 40, 45 days, whatever it is. And I'm proud of myself for that achievement, because my goal this year was, one of them was to have better commitment, to really improve on my commitment and be consistent and constant. And so, believe me, this wants to take me out. But I sit with myself and go, that's bullshit. And it's up to me if I allow myself to buy into it, or I choose to go, I'm going to manage back my thoughts and my emotional state. And it's practice. I'm no different to anybody else. But it takes practice, and it takes focus, and it takes choice. So let's move along to the daily guidance angel page. Pray. All right. Before I read this message, if you'd like to just close your eyes and take a deep breath with me, just to really recenter yourself so you can absorb the words that come from this message. Prayer means communicating with the divine through dialogue. It's your method of conveying your hopes, dreams, and wishes to the spirit world, where we angels love to assist you. You don't need to tell us what you desire, for it's apparent to all who are attuned to you. However, divine decree states that you must give us a signal that you're approachable and amenable to receiving assistance. That's all we wait for, and then our assistance is yours. Prayer can help you clear the air within yourself during times of confusion or indecision. It's a process of self-reflection and honesty in which you let your guard down and admit your deepest feelings and desires. Although we already know your true feelings, this is a means of communicating with spirit, especially your higher self, with a deep sense of acceptance. This allows you to bring your shadows to the light, where you discover that there's nothing to fear. Prayer is an act of surrendering, asking for help, and being open to receiving assistance. This receptivity allows the great light to come streaming into your consciousness, where your thoughts and emotions are lifted to a higher level. Wow. That is pretty much what I have shared with you in the channeled message, just using different language. So for some of you, if this didn't resonate, really what it's in essence saying is, take some time for you to find your truth, which means whether it's through meditation or just deep breathing, take some time to quieten your mind. That if you're not feeling the best version of you, or you're flat, you can't get out of bed, take that time to sit in bed and actually find your truth, because it's hiding in the dark and it wants to be found. And own that truth, as hard as it may be, because that's the only way that you can really hit self-sabotage head on, is by facing it, finding it. You got to find it, because if you don't find it, how can you stop it? And so knowing that whatever your path is, you're meant to keep moving forward. So yeah, that's just a different perspective of the message. And I hope that you really do hear the words. And if you need to listen to it again, listen to it again. Okay, let's keep moving along. And I pulled a card from the Universal Love Deck, but one has jumped out. So we have, once again, 2 cards today. Let's see what comes up. Message from afar. So for some of you, that self-sabotage and that feeling that, you can't get out of bed or whatever, there's a message waiting for you. And through prayer, that's their language, but I'm going to say through meditation or deep breathing or just quietening of the mind, that may resonate and sit a little bit more comfortable for you if the word prayer, because it's, some people it doesn't sit well with. And I absolutely respect that, but I don't want you to lose opportunity due to a word that I've used. So use, whether it's just a breathing technique, quietening of the mind, meditation, there is definitely a message waiting for you. And what I'm getting is the message that it simply is that you are good enough. You are good enough. You do matter. And just that feeling of not being good enough is where self-sabotage hooks its teeth into. And so different things come up. You're not good enough, don't get out of bed. You're not good enough, don't do that routine. You're not good enough, don't do that video. You're not good enough, feel lost. You're not good enough. What things are you're not good enough attached to in your life that's holding you back? The message from the far is here to say, you are. You are good enough. You do matter. Shift it. It's not an easy task, but every time that thought comes in, I'm not good enough, tell it to pee off, F off, whatever works for you that's going to empower you to overcome and take back your thoughts and your mindset and your emotional state of being. It's really strong. Message from afar. So let's read what the message has, but I'm going to say but, and I don't normally. It keeps coming that your thoughts keep telling you, and I'm going to use the word telling, and I don't use that word either, you're not good enough. I'm not good enough. Is that what your thoughts are telling you? And if that's the case, that's called self-sabotage. Because when you rebalance yourself and take a moment and look at what you want to achieve, I'm damn sure that you look and go, yeah, you know what? I can do this. I absolutely can do this. But in those moments when those thoughts come in, we don't have the ability to logically think and really stop and go, yeah, you know what? I can do this. We're so focused on hearing those messages of I'm not good enough. Sorry to keep going on about this, but they keep coming back at me, and it's like, okay, or my higher self keeps saying, really reiterate it. Reiterate. Okay, once again, let's close the eyes and take a deep breath. Quickly. Have the courage to live your dream. Let all unfold from within your soul. Listen to your inner voice. Be yourself. Do what your heart asks of you. Live, speak, and breathe your truth. Every situation you find yourself in here to help you grow in love and wisdom. Always make the most of life. Focus on what you have, not on what you don't. Be grateful. Show compassion for those less fortunate than you. Smile more often. Dance when no one is watching. Think about your eternal soul. Think about eternity. Think about heaven. Remember to smell the roses, to look up at the sky and the full moon tonight, to feel the earth beneath you and the endless universe that surrounds you and the stars above you. Feel the breeze in the trees and the love that fills and surrounds you. You are loved unconditionally, no matter what. Think about 1,000 years from now and 1,000,000 years from now. Now, if that does not just cement what I shared with you, all of this is really just, you've got this by managing and raising your awareness of self and not settling for any, I want to say negative, but disempowering emotionally, how you're feeling, state, or even your thoughts. I can say mindset, but the thoughts, any disempowering thoughts, tell them to pee off and bring in the ones that serve you. So look at what you have within you, not what you don't. That's just affirmed it. Okay, so let's go on to the card that I pulled. Celebration. Love. Absolutely. Just finishing off what I just said. Celebrate you. I'm a really big believer and I share it a lot. Celebrate 3 things about you daily. And they're little things. As I got up with the first alarm, I didn't press the snooze button. I went for my 5-minute walk. I lifted my legs. I stood 10 minutes longer than I did yesterday. They don't have to be big grandeur celebrations. They're the little things, because it's all the little things that add up to big movement. It's not just, you don't just look at one big movement. It's all the little achievements that you have along the way that end up to a big result, correct? So it's no different in what you do every day. It's all the little things that you do make big shift at the end. You'll reflect back and go, oh my gosh, it's that and that and that and that assisted me to get where I am today. It's a celebration. Really serve yourself, and I hope that it resonates to do the 3 celebrations a day. It takes 2 minutes. And the more you do it every day, the more constant you are with this, it just becomes part of your flow, your daily ritual, routine, whatever you want to call it, your daily practices. It becomes a habit. It becomes habitual. It's beautiful. That's a good thing to be habitual about. So let's read what the book Celebrations have to share with us today. Okay, helps if you know the alphabet. Okay, before I read this message, if you'd like to just close your eyes with me, take a deep breath. And just to recenter yourself to hear the words in this message. Something precious bursts to life. A dream comes true. That which you have wanted for so long now becomes reality. This is a time for celebration, a time to contemplate the very nature of life and your purpose on this earth, a time to give thanks to Mother Earth and the universe for their help and blessings. So just as I was saying, all the little things matter. So whatever you've been working on, there may be a goal or a personal goal, a professional goal, I don't know, but what I'm getting is you're so close, but self-sabotage is taking you out because you can almost taste it. But it's saying, no, you're not good enough. You don't deserve it. And so maybe of late you've been struggling to get out of bed. You're not walking. Your rituals are all out of whack. You're getting sidetracked with drama in the external world around you, in your environment. Look at all what's going on in your life, because this is just affirmed that whatever you're working towards is going to come to fruition. But self-sabotage may be right now taking you out because you're so close. So what I'm saying is, do the work on you. It takes 3 minutes to do daily celebrations. It takes 3 minutes to just do reflection and really look at how far you've come, rather than how far you've got to go. And generally how far you've got to go isn't that far, but we focus on that rather than focus at how far we've come. Reverse it. I'm all about reversing it. Look at the empowering rather than the disempowering. Look at the positive rather than the negative. Look at how far you've come rather than how far you've got to go. Shift your perspective. That's all it takes. And so I'd like to do a little bit more on this for coaching side. So if you're here for the message, thank you for coming. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So those of you who want to hang around, let's just deal and speak a little bit more about self-sabotage and what maybe I can provide you with some tools. And, getting back to the message, it really is important for you, especially in this time of your journey, if you are someone that's been working towards something, whether it be a professional goal, a personal goal, an item that you want to purchase even, it doesn't matter, but you're working towards something or wanting something. Maybe that word will resonate more with you. Really have a look at your emotional state, how you've been. Do you feel that there's been anything that's really holding you back? And even if you're not feeling well, do you know self-sabotage actually has the power to cause dis-ease in your inner being? Do you know your thoughts can actually create you to feel unwell? You might be saying, that's bullshit. And please note that I am not a health professional. I am not a doctor. And if you've got really severe things going on with you, please go and seek medical advice. That is not what I am saying. However, I want to share a little bit of a backstory that was going on regarding my health a few years back. A few years back, I would pass out. I'd get up in the middle of the night at like 3 o'clock in the night, and I'd go downstairs, and all of a sudden I'd have this wave of heat, and before I knew it, I was starting to feel all dizzy, and I'd actually pass out. Now, no one was awake, and what would happen was I would actually end up vomiting, and I would lose all bladder and bowel control. And from now, what we've looked back, there was actually times where more than likely I was having a seizure in that. Now, I went to every different doctor because it happened a few times, and it was sporadic. Like, it wasn't, there was no real rhyme or reason that I could put my finger onto. And I had MRIs, I had ECGs, I've had brain scans, I had blood tests, I had everything. And the answer I kept getting is, we don't know. There's nothing there. There's nothing coming up, nothing showing up on any of your scans, your heart monitors, nothing. So what was going on with me was unexplainable. And I really got frustrated. Now, if I'm to also share with you my emotional state back then, that was probably about 9 years ago, maybe even 10. It was not long after I'd met Darren, my husband. And now on reflection, I look back and I know that I had so many insecurities and that I wasn't good enough for him, and all of the stories, the self-worth, the self-love, the self-belief, so many of them, and I was very clingy around him, and there was always in the back of my mind, I'm not good enough. Is he going to leave me? There's thousands of thoughts and so many, And now on reflection, when I look back, I'm not surprised that they didn't find anything. Because for me now, the woman that I am on reflection, I honestly believe that all of that lack of self-belief and self-worth morphed into the form of self-sabotage, of fainting and looking in areas that weren't really serving me. And so for me, I look and go, that was guidance of, I need to do work on self. What I wasn't healthy was my mindset and my emotional state. I honestly, on reflection, my belief is that I hadn't healed all of the trauma that I'd experienced. And that trauma was starting to surface. And because I didn't have the tools of how to deal with that trauma, or how to even, I don't like the word deal, but heal and release that trauma, it's almost, I feel like it was coming out in the form of fainting. It was like there was so much dis-ease in my body that the only way to rid it was in the form of fainting, losing all bladder, and purging, literally purging, I can say, crap out of my body. Because it was like every possibility that I could release crap, it released. And so that's my explanation, and I honestly truly believe that, because it was about 5 years ago I had another episode. 5 years ago. And the same thing happened. However, this time it was early morning, got up, had a coffee with my darling, and everything seemed fine. And all of a sudden he looked at me and said, "You look white." And I had that wave of sweat. It's like my whole body overcooks. And I started to feel dizzy, and I said, "I feel dizzy." And he knows what that means. And the last thing I remember was waking up with, I think he was sort of moving my face and calling out my name. And there was this sense of urgency from him and worry in his tone of voice. And because no one had seen me pass out before, they didn't, and I didn't know what happened when I passed out. I just passed out, and I'd wake up with an egg on my head or wake up with mess all around me. It was pretty horrific, actually. It was not a nice memory. And I remember that day, and it took me a long time to recover after that episode. And I mainly remember being so embarrassed. And yet I'd been with the love of my life for, I think, 7 years, and still embarrassed over what had transpired of me purging everything out of my body. But after I cleaned myself up and we sat down, and he had this look of worry over his face, and he said, "You actually were, I don't know, what do you call it? Anyway, my whole body was, I was having a seizure. That's the term. Found it. A seizure. He said, "Your whole body was shaking, and to watch you was bloody scary." And then the purging started to vomit, and yeah. So that was the last episode I experienced. And I honestly believe that there was still some severe, deep crap, trauma, pain that I hadn't quite released. I absolutely know, and it was all attached to guilt. It was guilt of being my mothering skills. It was guilt of being the mother that I was. The core essence of that last purge was guilt. Guilt is one of the deepest, I don't know, I call it like the ball that holds this, a lot of our self-sabotage, self-belief, self-confidence, is if we hold guilt or even resentment over something, it sits so deep that it's often really hard to find it. But that guilt can have so many different chords attached to it, meaning so many different events. We feel guilty for mothering. We feel guilty for being a bad wife. We feel guilty for not doing this. We feel guilty for not doing that. We feel guilty for being mean. We feel guilty for not losing weight. We feel guilty for eating chocolate. Oh my gosh, I can go on and on and on, right? So the guilt, the ball just gets bigger and bigger with every bit of guilt that you carry. And then there's often another ball called resentment, anger. Who do you hate? Who do you blame? They're massive. And often we can say, "Oh, I no longer feel guilty about that." But we've missed that there's something else that we haven't released. And that was what was going on with me. And then I really deep dived into really healing, and that's when I started meditation classes. And that, honestly, and I will always thank my dear friend Barbara, going to her meditation, and I'd never gone to meditation, not understanding it, thinking it was a whole lot of, what is meditation? I need to be spiritual. I need to learn to be spiritual. I laugh at that now. I think it's hilarious. It didn't matter. And it doesn't matter because it led me to where I am today. So I am always so grateful of that journey. And going to the guided meditations, I was able to find things that I could not find when I was just doing reflection. Through meditation, it took me on a path to find different things that I hadn't healed back from in my childhood. There were so many tears. And I'm sharing this with you because maybe there are things that you're looking for, or you still don't feel like you've healed fully. Maybe a guided meditation is going to be the answer for you. I'm going to put a link in the bottom of this with Inner Child meditation by a woman, Michelle Chalfant. And it's a 20-minute meditation, guided meditation. But when you really hear the words, you may just need to hear the words that will trigger maybe certain things you find that you can absolutely bring to the surface and heal and release. You know, healing can be a long journey. It has been for me. It's, I reckon, 8-9 years maybe. And I'm not saying that I've found everything yet. There are still little attachments that trigger me. And I've healed them, but it's like, oh, that's come from that. But once I identify it, I just release it. If I couldn't get the connection to the attachment and I couldn't identify the attachment, then I'm just going to feel like this without an answer. So in essence, this is all about not settling. So, and being mindful that maybe if you're getting headaches, if you've had an MRI and you've done all the medical, tests, that's what and you've got no diagnosis, is all I'm saying, okay? Maybe look for an alternative. If you've done all your research with the medical world, I'm not saying not to, and you're frustrated, like I was frustrated. It was like, I've done every freaking test possible, and this is impacting my life, and you're saying to me there's nothing wrong with me. What the? So I just went, I don't want to live like this. And I was very blessed. I felt guided to go to the meditation. That was my alternative therapy. Maybe for you, it's the needle thing, acupuncture. Maybe it's Bowen's therapy. Maybe it is meditation. Maybe it's different Reiki, or theta healing, tapping. There is so many different things you can implement. I'm just saying to complement. That's all. This is a compliment. This is no health or medical advice. I really want to stipulate that very strongly. And just through me going, I didn't settle. I went, nah, something's not, I got to do something. And I was very blessed that my guidance came in the form of a dream, and I couldn't rid that dream, and it was so traumatic, and it led me to the meditation. And so I'm that trigger for you to go, if you're suffering maybe headaches or gut concerns, and there's nothing medically, scientifically that they can find, especially with the gut, the heart, and the head, right? Because that's where we hold stuff. If you've done all your medical tests and exams and diagnoses, and you're frustrated, you're to the point of like, what the hell? Maybe it's time to take a different path and look for a complementary thing that you can still search for your clinical, but maybe complementary, do alternative, maybe meditation, maybe yoga, maybe Pilates, even like physical forms of stuff, kinesiology, theta healing, Reiki. I can go on and on. Look, maybe that's where it'll assist you to really find the cause of what's holding you back and causing that lack, which is then causing at the surface the self-sabotage. I hope that this has really given you just a different perspective, offering you a different perspective to look at things, and sharing a little bit more about my experiences. And I really wanted to share that story with you because maybe you're experiencing something similar, or headaches, and you've searched all the clinical paths and they're not coming up with anything, and you're still suffering from whatever, whether it be headaches or gut issues, or like I haven't had an episode for over 5 years since I started the meditation, and I know within myself being I'm not going to have any more. That's it's just this deep knowing. And because I feel I've found the cause. I found the cause of those episodes. That trauma needed to come up. That guilt needed to be rid and released. That resentment needed to go. So if you enjoyed today's video, I'd be so appreciative if you would like the video and also subscribe to my channel and click on the notifications bell so you'll be notified when I upload tomorrow's video for you. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you gain even something little that will assist you on your path to becoming the best version of you. And know that you matter. You matter. You are your most valuable asset, so invest in you every day. And when you do that, you'll find self-sabotage tends to slowly dissipate. It's always there, but it's less frequent and it's more obvious. So for today, take care and have an amazing day.